Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of My Thoughts. Listen, this episode is long overdue, okay? It's going to be my final thoughts of The Last of Us HBO Season 1. I said I was going to make it. The final episode was March 12th. And between everything with my PlayStation getting stolen and all this stuff going on with the channel and stuff going on in my personal life, I didn't really get a chance to watch the final episode until, towards the end of March. Around that time, maybe the beginning of April. So I never really got a chance to make a final thoughts on my Last of Us HBO. I said I would, and here it is. I know it's very long overdue. I really apologize for it, but here it is. I'm still obviously gonna make it. I said I would, so here it is. And this is just pretty much gonna be me rambling, which is pretty much what most of my thoughts is anyway. But sometimes I script my videos and I kind of read off a script. Well, not really read off a script, but I really just kind of script my videos and kind of plan out what I'm gonna say. No script for this one. I'm just going to kind of give my honest opinion, my honest thoughts on it. Just going to be a huge rambling. So, first of all, Season 2 is going to come out. I didn't see if there was a release date or a scheduled time frame for Season 2 of The Last of Us HBO to come out. But it is going to come out someday. But as for Season 1, I think the hype, it's overhyped. Okay? I watched episode 1 to 7, or I think it was 10 episodes. I watched all the episodes is my point. And it's not worth the hype it was given. I mean, everybody on Twitter and on YouTube and all the social apps and all that say it was probably the best show they've ever watched. And, it's not worth the hype. It was a good show, yes. The cast was amazing, I think. They all acted very well. It was a great show. But I don't think it's worth what they're saying it is. Because, I'm not saying that they have to absolutely embellish what happened in The Last of Us story, but I feel like some key points that happened in The Last of Us game weren't in The Last of Us story, even though they should have. And that was my biggest problem. Some of the key points, a lot of things were switched around. They really shouldn't have been switched around. There was a lot of unnecessary changes. I'm a huge Last of Us fan, and it kind of hurts. It kind of hurts that they did this show. Not really that they did the show, but some of the changes, it kind of hurts. It feels like they're not really caring. They kind of dissed the entire Last of Us game base, which is kind of the base. It's pretty much the base of the show. They kind of dissed it, and it just seems like they don't really care about it. Neil himself seems like he doesn't really care about it. The main story, that is, of the game, and it just seems like he's kind of going off on a tangent, and all the other directors and stuff are just kind of going off of, not really the game. And of course the game. It's still the game. It still has the same character names and all that, but it just seems like it's not the same. And obviously I'm not saying that they have to make the show the exact same as the game, but I'm saying they could keep the originality a bit. It just seems like there's no originality, and it's if I never played The Last of Us, I didn't even know about The Last of Us or any of the games, and if I just watched the HBO series strictly and watched that and then played the game, I would probably not even think that it was the same as the show. Because, of course, the characters are the same, but everything else just seems different. Bill wasn't the same as he was in the game. Tommy wasn't the same as he was in the game. The really only character that really kind of stayed the same was Marlene and maybe a few other characters. But, Tommy wasn't the same as he was in the game. Bill wasn't the same as he was in the game. I think probably a few other characters here. But they're really not all the same. And that's my problem, because the characters, I believe, should have stayed the same as they were in the game. Because I would like to play it. It's kind of like watching a live action game, pretty much. But no, I think they just made it into a much worse adaptation of the game. And that's my honest critique of it, okay? Some people might come at me for it, but it's not as good as they say. Like I said, yes, it's a good show. I like the show. I don't like it like everybody else does. I think it's overhyped. It's overran, if that makes sense. It's overhyped. It's overran, and I don't really get the hype for it. I was gonna collab with a friend for this because I've watched every single episode with him. We watched it over Discord call, and we've watched pretty much episode 1 to the very last episode. I was going to collab with him on this video, but he was unfortunately not available, so I apologize for that. It would pretty much give another perspective of somebody else's, but Just me, unfortunately. I promise I will get a collab for something else for you guys. Anyways, I have a website up here, just some of the things that happened in The Last of Us. It's not necessarily a critique, it's just some of the things that happened in The Last of Us. So I'm gonna, kind of read off of the things that happened. I'm gonna read my key problems with certain things. Like, first of all, The Last of Us failed geography class. This one might be more of a nitpick, but it was a fail for such an immersive show in The Last of Us Episode 3. When Joel and Ellie were en route to Bill and Frank's house, we see a description on the screen that reads 10 miles west of Boston after Joel was rinsing his sore hand in the water of a riverbed, and he did so while being surrounded by trees with a vista of mountains in the distance. As everyone knows, Boston's Massachusetts, and its 10-mile radius of land knows that it could not at all be within 10 miles of home of the Red Sox in Fenway Park. Noted that New Englander Stephen King was one of who piped up to complain, tweeting, "Do you really want to tell me that's 10 miles west of Boston?" And the team is very aware of the complaints, as Mazin told the press, as TV Line reported, that Mazin admits that every now and again in season 1 at least, you get a little bit of, "Oh, it's Canada," and then when we don't want it to be Canada, and that's my goal to do better next season, now that we've learned some lessons. So that was just some stuff I read off of a website, some critiques, but, that's my problem. The geography is off. There's just a couple of nitpicked things in that in that article. I didn't want to read the whole thing, but I did want to read just that specific segment. But it's just there's a lot of things off with The Last of Us. The whole show just kind of felt off. It didn't really feel like The Last of Us game at all, besides the characters being the same. Now there is going to be a season 2. I really don't think if there was enough criticism, they wouldn't make a season 2. If there was enough people like me who really didn't like the show, I would not watch season 2. I think I am, just to watch it, just to see how it is. And whenever it comes out, I'll probably make another my thoughts on season 2 or whatever. But if I really didn't have, I don't want to call it an obligation to make my thoughts on it, but, if I really didn't have any motive to watch it, other than me watching it and giving my thoughts on it on the channel, of course. But if I wouldn't really have a motive to watch the season 2, is pretty much what I'm saying. I don't think there should be a season 2, but like I said, if it got enough criticism, they wouldn't make a season 2. But since everybody, quote unquote, loved it, which, again, if it wasn't overhyped, they wouldn't make a season 2. They shouldn't be, but they are, unfortunately. I guess we'll see what kind of train wreck that is. Now some people have called it a train wreck like I just did. There has been a fair amount of criticism. I've seen a criticism side, but for the most part, it's overhyped and people love it. But I have seen a little bit of criticism of the side of Twitter. For the most part, I do look on Twitter and I have seen the critics criticize, of course. But I have seen my fair share of people who hate the show, just like I do. But it's not necessarily me. I don't hate the show, but I'm not going to say I like it and love it like a lot of other people do. It's not one of my favorite shows of all time, and I don't think it ever will be. And they just got a lot of things wrong. And as a Last of Us fan of the games, it kind of hurts. Now, of course, if you've never played the Last of Us games before, sure, it's a great show. But from a person who's pretty much growing up playing The Last of Us, and I've experienced the game, I've played the story, the first part and the second part more than a couple of times, of course, and I've really experienced the game. It kind of hurts to see a show just kind of come in and taint the, I'm just trying to put it in the right way, taint the adaptation of the game, because the adaptation in the show is not the same as the game. Yeah, like I said, same characters, same kind of storyline, but everything else is kind of different. It's not really the same as the game portrays. It's kind of unportraying the game, and it just kind of sucks in that way. And I think if they did a little bit of stuff different in the show, such as, did some storytelling differently and actually, portrayed it to the game and did a few fan favorite things, put a few fan favorite things in that they did in the game in the show, I don't think I'd be really making this video critiquing it as hard as I am. I think I would love the show if they just did a few things differently and kind of changed a little bit of the storytelling. That's kind of really my only problems with it. If they just changed a few things, I don't think I would hate the show as much as I do. And I don't want to say I hate the show, hate, it's a very strong word. I don't like the show. That kind of fits more my style on really what I think of the show. I don't like the show, and that's pretty much what I think of it. And season 2 is going to come out, and the only reason I'm really watching season 2 is just to see how horrible of a train wreck it is. Now, who knows? Maybe season 2 will be the best season I've ever seen, like, ever. Maybe it'll be better than season 1, I don't know. But, I'm not really one to judge it off the jump, maybe season 2 will be the best season ever, like I said. So I just kind of got to play it, like you guys know how I am. I kind of got to play it or, see it or watch it or whatever to believe it. So I'm not really one to judge it off the jump. But, season 1, it didn't really put a good, didn't really put it a good perspective in for me, so I'm not really sure how season 2 is going to go, but I guess we'll see. And that's pretty much it. So comment down below what you guys think of The Last of Us HBO. I know this video is very long overdue. I know, like I said, with a lot of stuff going on, but I apologize for it being so overdue. That's pretty much it. So make sure to subscribe for more content, like the video, all the good stuff. Discord, Twitch, Instagram, links in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video.